A warm welcome back to the latest industry recap, and there is quite a lot to dissect, from a new aircraft order to some pretty positive developments at Cathay Pacific and an airline rebrand, but beginning proceedings at Jet2 that have announced plans to exercise options for further Airbus aircraft, amid interim results for 2023 being revealed. The UK leisure airline has secured 12 more Airbus A320neo family aircraft as a move that follows, as mentioned, the exercising of options rather than a brand new order off the bat. An exercising of options comes as Jet2 intends to continue growing its fleet through the coming years and rely heavily on this family of aircraft. Thanks to the newest commitment, the airline has 110 A320neo and A321neo aircraft committed to. Jet2's reliance on the series will continue long into the future, with deliveries slated to occur every year until the early 2030s. Before ordering the A320neo family, the carrier really relied on Boeing-produced aircraft, such as the 737 and 757. Currently, the airline still flies Boeing-produced aircraft, don't get me wrong. However, its future is definitely being put more so in the hands of European plane maker Airbus. During their initial commitment to Airbus over Boeing, the company noted that the reduced fuel consumption was one of the leading reasons they committed to the series. Additionally, Jet2 highlighted the lower noise footprint and the ability to move towards a more sustainable fleet. With 97 aircraft currently in service, the A321neo series is one that has slowly entered the operations across recent years. 5 units are in service, and these average an age of only 0.4 years. All other aircraft in the Jet2 family, if you will, are from the 737 family, with 2 variants featuring. It's certainly going to be exciting to see this company grow with time, and no doubt use this order to propel them forward. Over to Cathay Pacific, a carrier that, as you may know, has been featured on the channel quite extensively since the global pandemic, and I mean it's been hard not to cover their dire state. But the company reported its figures for 2023 in October, and additionally highlighted it's on the verge of declaring a profit. Yes, we've come a long way from an airline that had a 99.9% drop in capacity levels to now being able to declare a profit. But before I get onto that, Cathay Pacific said for October 2023, it carried 1.684 million passengers, and this represented a 320% rise compared to the 1 year prior. Frankly, it's hard not to do better than previously. Cathay Pacific and HK Express saw the combined milestone also of surpassing more than 9,000 passenger flight sectors in the month. This is a massive milestone and represents the first time the company has hit this figure since before the pandemic. For October's revenue passenger kilometers, or RPKs, there was a 225% increase over the same period 1 year prior. Meanwhile, load factors also increased by 11.1% to now 84.7%. Available seat kilometers also saw growth, and for Cathay, this has all been topped off by an 887% increase in the number of passengers carried in the first 10 months of 2023 compared to 1 year prior. So yes, those are definitely some of the important statistics that Cathay Pacific is known to reveal on a monthly basis, but really one of the main takeaways was comments from their chief executive officer. He said that while they will make a loss throughout the year, thanks to most recent increased demand, he believes that they will be profitable for the second half of the year. This is off the back of a very solid last 3 months for the business. For Cathay Pacific, such a development is massive, considering their lows only a year and a half ago. Cathay Pacific were arguably one of the more impacted carriers during the global pandemic, not really aided by any means thanks to those harsh restrictions that we saw around Hong Kong that prevented any kind of travel. Despite the recovery of other global markets as well, Hong Kong lagged, with tight restrictions still being implemented. As a result, we saw your US and European markets thrive and rebound very quickly, whereas every time I would make mention of Cathay Pacific, it was the polar opposite. As a result, and as touched on at the beginning of this segment, we saw traffic plummet by 99%, with little to no signs of improvement for a prolonged period. Serious concerns therefore arrived within the group, including how it would recover if at all, with so much uncertainty. However, following finally the easing of restrictions, Cathay has been able to rapidly return to markets globally and has seen a substantial increase in traffic too. Looking ahead for the remainder of the calendar year, the airline will continue to build on the strengths it experienced for the first 10 months. 2024 will represent another massive year for the Cathay Group as they look towards rebuilding that flight schedule that has taken so much damage across recent time. While supply chain issues continue to impact them, they do remain optimistic about their future outlook amid a challenging few years. As some people might say, and maybe it's not the best way to go about these things, it can't really get as bad as it once was. Hopefully those aren't my famous last words, and I'm going to now be jinxing that forever, but the point still stands as this may be a way the company is looking at things. Over to the final story of the day, and we have another Euro White livery. Yes, that's right. Euro White. Because we're saying goodbye to Anadolu Jet, hopefully I've pronounced that correctly, but no doubt knowing me I've probably butchered it, so my sincere apologies. But they're no more, as Turkish Airlines have announced plans to completely overhaul and rebrand this company. It has been rebranded to, very simply, AJet. AJet. The company announced the major name and branding change to a more simplified design overall across social media. AJet says that it should allow them to reinvent themselves and slot into key markets. Alongside a ceremony, we learned that they are also seeking their own air operator's certificate, which would be a move that would allow the company to label itself really as a distinctive carrier rather than just being a part of the Turkish Airlines group. While they still will be, they'll have their true own identity. A new livery will also be adorned, and it is a much simpler one with the AJet logo mark towards the front of the plane, similar to most airlines. Meanwhile, there are varying shades of blue throughout. Blue is a core color for the brand refresh. This extends to the tail, where then we have a large A, which is the primary logo mark, featured in white. Overall, the revised livery and branding have been labelled by most as, yes, a massive simplification, but also another Euro White scheme. A common trend across carriers in recent times that have refreshed their branding with what some people may describe as pretty uninspired changes. And naturally, that can be a deterrence to the overall rebrand. AJet operates 75 aircraft, however, the plan is to align with Turkish Airlines Group's broader goals of expanding its coverage within the aviation industry. So alongside hopefully obtaining that AOC, you can definitely expect AJet to grow massively in the future. That's going to conclude today's aviation news recap. Thank you very much for spending the time on your weekend watching this video, and I hope you did enjoy the updates. Be sure to let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I do sincerely appreciate the support, so take care, be safe, enjoy what is left of your weekend, and I'll see you next time.
And we'll fly.